Thank you for staying with us. Now, each year on the 25th of November up till the 10th of December, the world gets to mark 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. This has been happening since the year 1991. And right now, on this year's, activism against gender-based violence, we are running with a theme, Unite to End Digital Violence Against Women and Girls. And that is our main focus right here on women at the forefront. And I have with me amazing, great women. From my immediate right, I have Miss Valeria Buonifante, and she is the Deputy Head of Office, Italian Agency for Development Corporation, Nairobi Regional Office. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to have you on board. And right next to Miss Valeria, we have Njeri Wamegwe. She is a human rights defender. Njeri, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have the both of you here today as we get to talk about this very important conversation. I know that we give it a week each year, but it's a conversation that should be ongoing, always year in and year out. Now, just to have our focus on the digital violence against women, maybe if we can just begin by trying to paint a picture of what that looks like in our society today. Maybe if I can begin with you, Njeri.
I believe digital violence is the violence that we see every day being meted, especially towards women on digital platforms, some of which includes cyberbullying, online trolling. We're also looking at things like image abuse. Image abuse is where non-consensual images are shared, some of which even include deep fakes that are done by AI, and they're used either to extort money, to blackmail, or just to, harass you. So we are looking at different types of bullying that happens in platforms. And right now, also when you're looking at platforms, you're looking at platforms that do not have any tech controls. Beforehand, we could see that when you would report an account for doing this, things would happen. The account would either be removed and penalties would be put against this. But right now, we're looking at where you can be bullied anytime, any day in any tech platforms.
Yeah. And this it cuts across, It does not matter one's age. It does not matter one's background. It does not matter one's geographical background. It cuts across. Do you agree with me on that, Miss Valeria?
Totally. You're right. It doesn't matter even the social or educational background, because violence against women and also the tech-facilitated violence is affecting everyone. No matter what is the social status, the educational status, and now this tech-facilitated, the violence in the online space is going also beyond physical boundaries and is replicating and also multiplying, amplifying the forms of violence that people, and especially women and girls, can be affected by.
Yeah, and when it comes to digital violence, sometimes it's overlooked. I would like to say not even sometimes, most times it is actually overlooked, because if it's not physical, if it's not, violence that we can actually see and get to see, okay, he hit you there, we can see the mark. When it comes to digital violence, it is overlooked. Maybe what is enhancing this more, and what is it compared to, the actual one, the physical one, compared to this, that now the digital one is overlooked?
I feel like the reason we overlook digital violence is because we don't see the effects of digital violence immediately, or because they are not, they are hidden. The invisibility of it. If you assume when you troll somebody online, it doesn't affect them. It's like mental health, where it is not visible. It's clearly affecting you, but it's not visible. However, you cannot overlook the fact that it causes stress, it causes depression, to the point of where suicide, where people are killing themselves by suicide. So you cannot overlook those effects. You can imagine coming online, and I'm saying this as somebody who is trolled a lot, coming online and seeing, you know, you're trending and you're not trending in a positive way. It could be they're talking about your physical appearance. It could be that you said something that affects, you know, how people see themselves. And when you look at this and how people take it, and then the amount of, I mean, you can be trolled simply for having a degree. I remember this last week, there was a trend where look at the degrees. No man wants a woman with degrees, and it became such a vile, you know, thread on X. So it could be any matter of anything, but you cannot compute how distressing it is to the physical body, to your mental health, and how you feel when things like this happen.
Are you able to protect yourself from such? Is it really a possibility? Can you be able to protect yourself from, you know, the digital violence?
May I turn the other way around your question, which is underlying a very good point. I don't think it sits with the victim to protect herself or himself. I think it's something that should be on the system, or more some protection mechanism, some positive response mechanism should sit within the ecosystem, the digital space, and also the physical and real space. Because otherwise the risk is always this double victimization, this blame the victim. I'm the one who's been attacked, who's been exposed, who's been hurt. I don't have also to carry the burden of just protecting myself. It's the system around me, the social, the economical space, the political space that should change in order to chase away the toxic behaviors.
Yeah, so it's the same as when you talk about, you know, domestic violence, when they kept saying, teach your girls, you know, protect your girls, and it was like, no, X, talk to the boys, just talk to the boys. It's not about me protecting myself. So this is the same case also when it comes to the digital violence. It's not about me looking for ways in which I can be able to protect myself from being victim to digital violence. It's about just everything that exists and everyone that exists in that space to ensure that, I mean, just be a respectable person, just have empathy, you know, and look in ways you navigate the internet in just ensuring that everyone is safe on there. But now this is not the case as we're seeing it. Jerry, you've actually mentioned that you are victim to that. You get bullied a lot online, and then there's that point where you're told just grow a thick skin. You know, you're just like, I mean, will you keep complaining that they're doing this to you or that? This is something that we've had most times, even online when you go on there and there's someone who's complaining, maybe this person has done this to her, probably their pictures have been exposed in a way that is not, you know, proper, and then you're just told, just grow a thick skin and move on. What does that do to the person who's now complaining about it?
It destroys your trust. Your ability to report, because if you're not protected, what happens to you? That makes you vulnerable, right? I mean, you're surviving something that is literally affecting every facet of your life. Because I can imagine, and we have seen instances where, let's say, for example, non-consensual photos have been leaked, and now they're everywhere. How do your family is calling you, your workmates, people who are close to you, your church mates, everybody is wondering what is happening to you. Where do you go? Where is the recourse? Where is the, actually let me use the word punishment. How do you feel safe again? Because your safety is gone. Everything that you trusted and held close to yourself is gone. Now you're exposed, and you feel like everybody. It may be online, but you feel like if you walk outside, everybody knows what's happening to you. And it's not a good feeling. And again, I will refer to a case I remember. This lady, and she was 50-something when this happened to her. And the church and everybody around her called her, and she got so distressed that she, you know, she unalived herself. And so, and that was here in this country. And so we have to start thinking of the consequences of this action, and why do the platforms not penalize the people actually contributing towards this action. I think monetizations of the platforms have also really affected, you know, affected how people show up in online spaces. Because even being monetized, it means I can be as toxic as possible and get so many people to come together, you know, and you gain traction, and you're able now to push your agenda without there being anything that is going to happen to you.
Maybe what's the best way to go around that? You know, even for these digital platforms, what is their responsibility in this? I mean, we're living in the era of AI, and I'm sure that it can be used to detect, you know, such violations that we get to see online. So maybe just what is the role of these digital platforms?
Is a major role, and if I may, I think it's it has not been explored enough, and they have not been questioned enough. And also the you know, the monetization, the financial interest, the economic interest is playing a role, because it's still, my feeling is that it's still kind of considered a bilateral negotiation between the hater and the victim and the person that is affected by the online flame or hate. But the digital platform, the companies are playing a major role, because they are the ultimate responsible and the ultimate benefiting from all the economic interaction and exchange that are like laying behind all the interaction on the social platforms. And of course it's I think it's an issue that should be addressed in a twofold manner. Of course, there is a matter of policy. The regulatory framework should be there with clear rules, indication, and also sanctions in case of misbehavior. But also, we know that the real change is coming from with a bottom-up approach. Is happening in real life among real people, fueled by the behavioral change that every single person can bring about. And so I think it should be this dynamic. We should promote and disseminate a behavioral changer among the users, isolating all the toxic behaviors and labeling them and stigmatizing them. And of course, we should also push for a policy change, for having this regulatory framework which is not enabling for the tech-facilitated violence, or for the social space and the virtual space to be a place of violence and abuse.
So the social media companies should be held accountable.
Totally. Financially, because of course you have to, you know, hit where it hurts. And the economic spot is always the weak spot, or the most powerful spot, according to the perspective. So clear sanctions should be there. They should lose money if they allow for the virtual space to be a space of violence.
Why is this not happening already?
Because huge interests are at stake, I guess. But again, also as users, we can promote a change. Because if we are dropping, or we are stopping using or being in the virtual space that allows violence, that is an enabling environment for harassment, for abuse, if we leave this space will die, will be of no use. So it's also something that we can trigger again from the with a bottom-up approach.
All right, and Jerry, rather, you've been on this for a while. I mean, I'm sure most of the people watching already know you from online, from the work you do online, because that you really use online for advocacy, for sure. So maybe, what is amiss, specifically when we look at Kenya? What is amiss in all of this? And if there are policies that need to be put in place, what sort of policies are we looking at?
One of the things that is amiss is digital hygiene. how do we use social media? What is it we're in social media to do? And how do we ensure that there is consent, there is boundaries, the same way you would not actually come to you and abuse you. It's the same way we should also consider using social media. We can't be on social media backing at people that we would never back at online.
Yeah.
And I feel like the digital platforms have a place, and the law also has a place in which it should also be able to take place. And I feel like the law is used discriminately. For example, when we were pushing, let's say, the last year's agenda towards maandamano, they would be able to find you because of a tweet. Yet when I go and report that the same thing has happened to me physically, the same response is not gotten. So the same response that a politician is able to get should be the same response that another person, another social media user should be able to get. It should be the same. Also, where are the penalties? As you've said, I like what you said. You said AI should be used to detect.
Yeah.
You know, to detect and to be able to say, we have a problem here, and this is immediately deleted at source, so that you know immediately that if I do this and this is reported, immediately my post will be deleted. I will be put into punishment, probably suspension. If I continue violating, then you know, my account can be taken away. And you know, we have IP addresses. That IP address cannot be able to form another account. So there should be actual immediate punitive measures that people should be able to face. But right now, there are no consequences. I can tweet whatever I want to say. I can write whatever I want to say, and nothing is taken into account, you know? And I feel the government has a role to play, but we also have a role to play, calling out people and saying, look, what you have said is not correct and it's not going to be allowed. What is our digital culture? What does it say about us as people and how we approach, you know, issues, right? And so I feel like those are the things we should be looking at: our digital hygiene, our digital culture. What are the methods? Why are we as a country, you know, we are in Kenya, so I'm going to talk about Kenya. So what is Kenya doing to ensure, and it's not just by punishing people, but also ensuring that there is a, you know, respectful culture for the social media users in this country.
And I think that's where it's at, just ensuring that we are changing that narrative altogether, you know, changing the culture whereby, you know, we can exist respectfully among each other, not just in person, but online as well. Because nowadays, it's so unfortunate because you can hide under a pseudo account. So I won't know it's Njeri who's talking, you know, who's talking about me. Simply because you can go anonymous, then you can say whatever it is that you want to say. It is really, really unfortunate. And I don't know, I'm really hoping we get to that point. Maybe how far are we? Just from, you know, just from your point of view, how far are we to getting to that point where now we can be able to completely, you know, take care of this? Like that you did.
I'm really struggling to get a straight answer. I think we should remain positive and acknowledge that we are on a journey. And I guess celebrating the 16 days of activism, but also being committed and engaged in our daily life with the work that we do, but also with the kind of life that we carry on is supportive. In terms of, I would rather look at it in terms of what can we do more. There's a lot to do, of course. And first of all, thinking about the cyber space and adding a bit on what you were already saying. One of the place where there is room for improvement and investment is in terms of representation. Women are not there in the cyberspace. There is a serious underrepresentation, and this means also that the space is shaped differently. The cyberspace, the social media are not designed from the very beginning to be gender sensitive. And so also the mechanism to detect, to protect and to intervene, to react at abuse and violence online, and this is very similar to what is happening also offline. We can easily transpose the this interpretation. Until women are fully involved from the very beginning in every political, social, economical and cultural aspects of our life, of course we will be lacking and missing something. And again, the digital space needs to be designed from the very beginning to be gender sensitive, to be also able to recognize and embrace and acknowledge the reporting system. There's a lack of empathy in the real world, we all know. I guess we have all experienced it, but also and even more in the online space, because the mechanism has been shaped in a way that does not recognize some signals and some requests, and that does not respond properly in a way that is effective but also empathic to some of the reports, requests and claims.
Yeah. All right, now allow me to interrupt this a bit and hand you over to Trevor, our reporter, who's on standby at the Jamhuri grounds for the Powering Inclusion, Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation. Trevor, if you can hear me, kindly let us in on what is happening.
A very good morning to you, Vivian, and thank you so much. We're coming to you live from Jamhuri Sports Center at along Gong Road here in Nairobi. Today is the International Day for Persons with Disabilities, and we are here at the Energy Center for the Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation Energy Center, where the REREC is holding an event to commemorate and to celebrate the leadership of persons with disability. And we're here because REREC is doing this in honor of the persons with disability, which is marked every 3rd of December. And the day highlights, and it's meant to celebrate and to bring to mainstream the inclusion and equal participation of persons with disability, as well as championing for removal of physical and social systematic barriers that make people with disabilities experience challenges here and there, and also to promote and to mobilize governments and the private sector and communities to take action. And Vivian, I'll bring on board the manager for this center. His name is Mr. Bob Modi, who will tell us more about this event and its significance and why they are holding it here. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob, for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
You could begin by introducing yourself and first tell us what happens at an energy center.
Thank you so much. We appreciate for this day. This is a great day for us on behalf of REREC and every other Kenyan, especially those who are challenged differently. My name is Bob Modi. I'm the manager Energy Centers REREC. This is one of the energy centers that REREC manages across our country. We so far have 17 energy centers, Jamhuri being one of them and one of the oldest energy centers. We have a number of activities that happen at the energy centers that run across agroforestry. Here is where we plant the tree seedlings. Like currently we have like 120,000 seedlings planted around to help in promoting the agroforestry and the tree planting across the country toward the 2030 vision as was announced by the president. Here we also do sensitization and training for all the renewable energy technologies across the country that run from biogas systems, that run from the solar PV systems. We have parabolic cookers, and we have a different number of technologies that we train the people on their growth, their development, and their management, and that happens nationally. Thank you.
So when you mention about the trainings for the cook stalls and of course the renewable energy, equipments here, maybe you can talk to us a little bit about the skills gap that probably we see a lot of electrical students, and are these skills that they're coming out with them from their schools, or are you reaching a point where you probably have to retrain them and teach people in the grassroots how to use them?
Yeah, thank you very much. Much of the training that we do to Kenyans of goodwill who will want to know how to do some of the activities by themselves, and we do them for free to help promote renewable energy, and also to help each and every Kenyan be able to access cheap energy, both in cooking and also even as sources of light within their homesteads. And it runs across, and everyone learned or through technical institutions are always welcome to all our energy centers so that they get the necessary skills that are aligned with green energy as is mandated in the vision of rural electrification and renewable energy corporation.
So today you're holding an event here to celebrate people living with disabilities. It's not one of the first things we've seen you do as REREC. We've seen you conduct other CSR activities across different counties. Maybe you can just briefly highlight some of them, and maybe what's the impact that you've probably witnessed, from how many people have you reached, and what's the kind of reception that you're getting apart from that?
Yeah, one of the key mandates of REREC is service delivery, especially free service to Kenyans that starts from electrification of rural areas. But now in the perspective of our today's event, this is a very great event to REREC because we are amplifying, we are trying to showcase the powers that the people who are challenged differently possesses. And this is an initiative that REREC, throughout our mandates, we have been trying to build upon. And today, we also have staff here who are challenged differently, who have come to partner with us also to help magnify their plights. Now, across our country, REREC has had different initiatives involving people with a disability. The latest being in Kitui during the Mashujaa Day week, when we had a camp, an eye check camp, which was attended by more than 1,100 beneficiaries. In Kirinyaga, the same happened, where in our booth we had more than 1,400 beneficiaries that attended. We were doing the eye checks and also providing necessary medications within such levels.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob. We really appreciate your time. And of course, Vivian, like you had it, it's a very big event that's being organized here by REREC. And we expect the Cabinet Secretary for Energy, Honorable Opio and I, to also grace the event. We'll also other senior government officials, including the CEO of REREC and other top leaders in the country. And this is something that will be beaming live here in the course of the day. And I now hand it over back to you, Vivian.
Thank you, Trevor, and we will definitely be keeping tabs on that event that will be happening there today. Now, let's get back to our conversation, and we're talking about the 16 days of activism, specifically having our focus on digital violence against women and girls. And before we took that a brief break, you had mentioned, Ms. Valeria, you had mentioned something to do with having more women, you know, in this tech spaces. And, you know, I actually had something on that, just us encouraging girls to take up or pick up or rather pursue careers in the tech space. I think that will also assist in this. Will it make a difference? Do you think so, Njeri?
100%. When things are not designed with women from the beginning, it excludes women. Yeah. And we don't really think about the effects of how this works. For example, when I just learned this is the year we have started having women crash dummy tests on cars. Cars were never designed with women as primary users. So most of the things inside a car do not work to the advantage of women. So the same with tech platforms. Having not been designed with women as an end user, it means we have to really now come up with things that include women. When we say things are not inclusive for women, it's exactly that. How do we then make these tech platforms become inclusive to women and to girls?
Allow me to cut you short a bit. I'm being directed to that we should be heading to the Senate right now. That is ready.
Good morning to you, our dear viewers, and welcome to this live broadcast of the Senate this morning. It is a live broadcast coming to you from the Senate chambers. Well, good afternoon to you. Good morning. The day is seemingly moving fast. It is already 9:12 in the AM this morning, this being our Wednesday sitting of the Senate this morning, convened for the Senate to investigate and determine the matter facing the governor for Nyamira County, Governor Amos Nyaribo, who was impeached by the County Assembly of Nyamira. This sitting has been gazetted by the Senate Speaker for the House to convene and consider the matter before it, the matter before the Senate for the better part of today morning, in the afternoon, and for the better part of Thursday up to the close of business will be the consideration of the charges on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Amos Kimwomi Nyaribo, the governor for Nyamira County, where the senators are set to hear and vote on this matter. The vote here will have the Senate listen and consider evidence from the County Assembly, in this case being the accusers who are accusing the governor of Nyamira County of a number of charges. Among them is the gross violation of the Constitution and other laws. The other charge is the charge that pertains abuse of office, among others. So for this morning sitting, the sitting begins with a closed session of senators. This is usually a pre-hearing for senators where we have a kamukonji for 1 hour, where the senators will be guided on the rules for this impeachment. And after that pre-hearing session that is usually held in closed doors, the live broadcast of this impeachment hearing will commence, yet again coming to you live from the Senate of Kenya with the recital of the mandate of the Senate and the rules of procedure and hearing in regards to this issue of impeachment. There will be introduction of the County Assembly of Nyamira, representing the County Assembly and their council. The Defense Council will also be introduced. These
Sergeant at Arms, ring the quorum bell for further 10 minutes.
Well, the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Kingi, currently presiding over the business of the Senate this morning, whose major business is the consideration of the impeachment of Nyamira County boss, Honorable Amos Nyaribo, has added an extra 10 minutes. This is a 10 minutes leeway for senators to make their way into the chamber this morning, to allow for the proper curation of the House for the commencement of business before it. After the introduction of the members of the County Assembly and their Defense Council, we'll be having the introduction of the Governor of Nyamira County and the council representing him, if any. So what happens under this particular juncture, our dear viewers, is that the County Assembly, members of the County Assembly who will be taking the bar will be introduced before senators and the Speaker of the House, as well as the wing representing the governor. The governor's wing will be seeking to have the Senate debunk or quash the impeachment by the members of the County Assembly, where 23 members of the County Assembly of Nyamira out of 30 impeached Governor Amos Nyaribo. And the wing, being the wing of the members of the County Assembly, will be seeking to convince senators for the better part of today that indeed their their case is watertight and that the Senate ought to uphold the impeachment of the governor of Nyamira County. Our dear viewers, remember Nyamira County has been in the limelight following cases of two divergent county assembly sessions where a particular branch of the county assembly is said to hold sittings in the county assembly's chambers in Nyamira County, where the other wing holds its proceedings outside the county assembly of Nyamira. So this is a matter that senators have been considering for the better part of this year, actually, with various committees being devolution and intergovernmental relations, as well as the Senate County Public Accounts Committee grilling members of the Nyamira County Executive and going to the ground to ascertain these allegations. So this particular issue is expected to feature heavily during this impeachment hearing facing the governor for Nyamira County. After we have the introduction of members of the County Assembly and the governor and his defense, the Senate will continue to read the charges that are facing the governor. This is done by the Speaker of the Senate. The County Assembly will then be given an hour, about 30 minutes rather, as part of the opening statement on behalf of the County Assembly. The governor will also be having 30 minutes as part of his opening statements to the Senate for the better part of today. The governor's part will be coming during the afternoon session after the House has already commenced with the hearing of this issue of impeachment facing the governor for Nyamira County. And our dear viewers, let me take you quickly through the charges facing the governor for Nyamira County. They include the gross violation of the Constitution and other laws, where the governor for Nyamira is said to have violated the 2010 Constitution and the County Governments Act of 2012 through deliberate, formal engagement, endorsement, and support of unlawful, illegal, and unconstitutional bunge mashinani. This is the issue that I highlighted a few minutes ago, where the County Assembly of Nyamira is, so to speak, divided in the middle, with a section of it holding the County Assembly proceedings inside the gazetted premises, that is the Nyamira County Assembly, and the other faction holds its sittings outside the gazetted legitimate premises, being the County Assembly chambers of Nyamira County. On charge 2, members of the County Assembly of Nyamira are alleging that Governor Amos Nyaribo has grossly violated the Constitution and the Public Finance Management Act of 2012 by assenting to the Nyamira County Supplementary Appropriations Bill 2024 without the approval of the County Assembly. This is an issue where the County Assembly must go through the supplementary budgets or appropriations bill. But in this case, the governor is said to have assented into a supplementary appropriation bill of 2024 without the same having been considered and passed by the County Assembly of Nyamira. The governor is also being accused of failing to appoint the chairperson, secretary, and members to the Nyamira County Public Service Board. The quorum has been achieved. Allow me to hand you over. Enjoy your viewing.
Clerk, you may proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, communication from the chair.
Senator Sotsi and company, kindly take your seats. Now, honorable senators, I have a communication to make relating to the business of the Senate, as scheduled for consideration during this solemn sitting. You will recall that at the sitting of the Senate held on Thursday, 27th of November 2025, I appointed today, Wednesday, 3rd December 2025, and tomorrow, Thursday, 4th December 2025, as the days when the Senate will hear the charges for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Amos Kimomi Nyaribo, Governor of Nyamira County. Via Gazette Notice number 1761-3 dated 2nd December 2025, I notify the general public that pursuant to Standing Order 81B2 of the Senate Standing Orders, the Senate shall investigate the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Governor of Nyamira County in plenary. Consequently, a hearing program has been prepared and appended to the order paper for today that highlight the various activities to be undertaken in the hearing. Now, honorable senators, in accordance with the schedule of activities for an impeachment hearing in plenary, the Senate will hold a closed-door preparatory session to deliberate on the management of the investigation. The objective of the preparatory session is to ensure that the process is conducted seamlessly, concluded timely, and in line with the requirements set out under the Constitution and the standing orders. Honorable senators, during the pre-hearing, the parties, if they are present, all members of the public and media will be expected to withdraw from the chamber, and galleries and any form of broadcasting from the chamber shall cease. Consequently, I now direct the parties, all members of the public and the media to withdraw from the chamber, and the galleries and any form of broadcast from the chamber to cease forthwith. In accordance with the hearing program for an impeachment in plenary, the open session will commence at 10 a.m.
Matter before wait on the proposed removal of office of the governor for Nyamira County. We will be getting back to that in a few. But before then, let's continue with our conversation. We were talking about the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And we're just trying to look at ways in which we can be able to eliminate the digital violence, specifically against women and girls. Before we took that break, Jerry, you were talking to us, yeah? And you were just, trying to help us understand, what is really happening on ground, being that you're someone who's been doing activism for quite a while now, if you can just get back to that.
One of the things I will keep on saying is that social media can be used for good and for great things. As somebody who's consistently used the platform to advocate and to even bring people onto the ground, not just online. Yeah. I think the online space is a space that we really need to honor and treasure because it brings in a lot of different people in one space, people you wouldn't have reached otherwise.
The world is now connected.
Yes, people didn't have reached otherwise. So for me, I find like when you use it for advocacy and awareness, and people get to understand that, hey, there are places I can go when issues of gender-based violence, this can be addressed, this can be taken up. You can call out, or you can even tag relevant authorities and tell them, look, my case is here, it hasn't moved to ABCD. I feel like it's such an important space. And when a place is that important in terms of you can consolidate power, you can, change the mindset of people, you know. I feel like we should also protect that space. We should honor that space. We should look at it as there are people who make their money, their daily living online. And so as such, it should be considered the same way you'd consider a school, a workplace, the same way you would consider places that are important to you, where we've pushed, for example, what you were talking about, when we were pushing for the 100,000 signatures to make femicide a distinct crime, we were pushing for it online. That shows you the importance of this space, even in mobilizing bills and laws and making even people understand how laws affect them. So why do we not have, you know, a governance in this space? I'm not saying we become prefect of thoughts, because people are allowed to have thoughts and people are allowed to express themselves. I think it's very important to consider that. But when your expression, your thoughts and your freedoms should not infringe on my freedom, should not become a place that becomes unsafe for people. And I'm putting that in the fact that during this weekend, unfortunately, I want to show you how the online and the offline interact very violently at times. In Lare in Meru, a woman was gang raped and by 10 men. And when this happened, they also filmed it, and it was uploaded online. Now, we have very many problems with just that one. First and primarily for me, it's always going to be about the survivor. This violence has already been meted on her person, right? Now, to bring it online is to not only re-traumatize it, to re-traumatize her over and over again, but now also to relieve that trauma. This video has been circulated widely. Why is it still online? And I'm looking at places where you can't even use the word rape, because you have to censor and say grape, right?
And now we have the videos that
but the videos are circulating in the same platform. Don't you think the hypocrisy sometimes is a bit too much? Why is this video circulating now? What does that say about us as a people? Because I have seen the comments, because I couldn't look at the video, but I saw, because, you know, that is just terrible. But I was looking at the comments, and they're terrible comments, and they're actually accusing the woman. So where do we draw a line at the responsibility of the tech platforms that have shared these videos, and also the responsibility of the people who even watched the video and then commented derogatory, no empathy whatsoever for the survivor? One of the most important things that we are looking at within these 16 days of activism is, do we believe survivors of TFGBV, tech-facilitated gender-based violence, because they are as much as a survivor as they are a survivor of physical violence, emotional abuse, and any other forms of violence. We need to look at TFGBV as the form of virulent violence against a person. What does it say about us when we look at something like that video and we laugh? What does it say about us? Even just your emoji use on such a vile, you know, video. What does it say about us? So we also need to, as we call out the tech platforms, can we also call out the users of the same platforms? Because why are we so quick and so hasty to even have something to say? Instead of all of us, the first thing we should have all done is to report that video.
To even share it. Why are we
sharing the video? We should have all reported it, and we should have all be amplifying and speaking and calling out the ICT minister. Why is this here? But that's not what we're doing. So what does that say about us also as the social media users?
So it's our responsibility, all of us, each one of us has a responsibility to play. We are so used to calling on the government, oh, serikali this, serikali that. But on such matters, I mean, we all have a role to play. Each one of us has a role to play on this. And, you know, even before I let Valeria get us through the programs that they're running right now for the 16 days of activism, maybe just back to you, Njeri. when we look at such, you know, even from the comments that you're talking about, from such a video being online and the comments that are underneath it, this also brings the question of now how to bring men on board and how are we bringing them on board, because sometimes online it becomes like, when such a thing happens, it becomes a fight, a gender fight, which is not supposed to be the case. So how do we bring men allies on board? What role do they have to play in this?
You know, this is such a hard question.
Yeah.
Because why are men not allies? You know, like the responsibility of violence being meted on me, and then the responsibility of we still have to reach out to make men our allies, because then it becomes a gender war.
Yeah.
Because if I call out the perpetrators of violence, then I'm being told I am talking about men. But men also have to be responsible enough to want to be allies in this fight, because gender-based violence is not going to end unless we have proper male engagement.
Yeah.
And male engagement should not mean I should be able to disengage myself so that I can accommodate you. We should be able to reach a consensus that this violence is wrong for all of us.
Okay.
And I say this all the time, because I say violence against women today is violence against men tomorrow. Really, truly.
Yeah.
Like, you should not be looking at saying, that is a thing that affects women, so it doesn't bother me. It's a thing that affects women, and tomorrow it will affect me as a man. You should never exclude yourself from this conversation, because we are living in a society together. What affects a woman today will affect a child tomorrow, will affect men tomorrow. All of us should have the ability to come together as a community and practice the things that we are saying, that no violence should be in these spaces. It shouldn't be a fight. It shouldn't be, I need to call you out.
Yeah.
It should be, oh my God, we live with women. And it doesn't have to be that that woman is my wife, my sister, my mother. It has to be like we are responsible for each other.
Because human beings.
We are human beings.
Yeah.
We should be responsible for each other. I shouldn't have to remind you your responsibility towards me. It should be obvious. A woman was raped. Why are we down here downplaying what happened? It should be immediate. Oh my God, why are you attacking this person? Why is this happening? And I've seen it happen for me. I have seen instances where I have been attacked and people have come together immediately and said, no, we're not going to agree to this. And people have, been used as a covering. Why can't we also do the same? Why can't we also do the same? Men should be allies from the beginning. As we are saying, these platforms were never made for us in mind. And by us, I mean women. But now we are here. You are not going to, we are here. We are already here. Can we all be cordial to each other? Can we all be allies in this fight? Because gender-based violence affects all of us. All of us, every one of us. We have to take into account that gender is everyone. Gender is everyone. Everyone is included in gender.
Yeah, it's
the
not
fact that every
female.
time we just say gender, everybody thinks
Also
women
it's the women,
is where
yeah.
the problem starts from.
Yeah.
Gender includes all of us. And so all of us should be together in this, in calling out harm.
Yeah, both genders face the violence.
Yes, in calling out the harms. And I shouldn't have to remind you that this could be your sister. I should remind you my humanity is as important as your humanity. So let's come together and join each other. Actually, the mantra for Sikimi, our organization, is very simple. It's together. We can end gender-based violence. So together, all genders can come together and end facilitated gender-based violence. It's everyone's responsibility. Because today, me and you are here. Guess who is coming onto this space tomorrow? Our children.
Yeah.
Do we want our children to see this? What footsteps are we leaving in this online space that when my child comes into this space, they're going to see and say, oh my God, is this what was happening to my mother? Is that what we want? Is this what was happening to my father? We should be responsible citizens, irrespective. We should all be responsible for the spaces, whether they are online or offline.
I agree with
Everybody has a responsibility and a part to play. That is women, men, and any other gender.
Should be combined effort, for sure. Now, Valeria, you are, as an organization, you're running several programs through this 16 days of activism. If you can just take us a bit through some of them, which ones have already happened, which ones are yet to happen, and maybe for someone who would love to come on board or get on board on it, how do they go about that?
Thank you. Yes, as the Italian cooperation, that has been a joint effort between the Italian Embassy, the Italian Institute of Culture, and my organization, the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation. This is the second year that we're rolling out the Activate Nairobi campaign to support the global campaign against GBV, the 16 days. And we have always chosen the perspective of leveraging on different forms of art in order to raise awareness and make this mindset shift, this behavioral change happen, or at least contribute to it. The campaign this year, I'm very proud to share with you, it was a huge success, but just thanks to all the Kenyan artists, most of them young female artists, that made it possible with their contribution and with their voices. We run several events. We run several events, in Nairobi, and some events also in Laikipia and Narok. Actually, the last event is taking place on December the 10th in Narok, in Laikipia, and it's going to be a marathon, and then a panel with grassroots organization members and representatives, mostly women-led organizations, around the way we can be allied and work together to put an end to GBV. We started with an exhibition of artworks. We launched a few months ago in the occasion of the International Women's Day, the 8th of March. We launched the call for artists and we were overwhelmed by artworks, very good artworks from Kenyan artists, emerging and well established. And then we exhibited the best artworks and also awarded some of the winners. But it was a very inclusive exhibition, of course. And we organized this event at the National Library Service, which is a very symbolic premises, because it's also the premises of the Minister of Gender, the Kenyan Minister of Gender, and so we were graced with the presence of the CS Gender. Ancheptumo, she was part of the launch event of the campaign. But allow me to share one of the most relevant events of the campaign, which is really much resonating with the conversation that we are having today. One of the event was the screening of this short documentary that we asked a collective of young boys and girls living in the Kakuma refugee camp to realize. Their name is The Camp with K. I'm also very happy to promote their work. And they realized this documentary, short documentary on tech-facilitated violence. And this is a very positive story because somehow resonates with the terrible story that you were sharing, and is one of the millions terrible episodes happening of violence happening. In this case, they weaponized positively what was happening to one of them. This young lady was experiencing tech-facilitated violence. Someone created a fake profile of her on Facebook, and with this profile, someone was extorting money to married men. One of the wife tracked her down, went to her, assaulted her. Again, the setup, the location is a refugee camp where life is already quite harsh. She was, on top of that, also victim of this physical assault from one of the wives, who thought that she was trying to blackmail or extort money from her husband. So this girl was assaulted. Her life was at risk. She felt unsafe. Her mother was very much worried. Her daily life was affected. And this is a very good example of how the online violence can be translated and have actual effects in the daily life of everyone. But also here we have a very positive response. You were asking what we can do. How can we protect? More than protecting, I really want to underline how we can be the change, how we can activate. And she activated it, a response by owning her own story and using this story to make this powerful documentary, which also had a very positive collateral effect, because one of the guy, part of the crew, a young guy who is very much familiar and engages on a daily basis with social media, he was so honest to share with us while we were having the, the Q&A and the debate following the presentation. He told us, I've learned a lot while being part of this, the making of this documentary, because even though I live in the social media space, I use social media, and I see hate episodes, hate speech, violence, abuse, harassing, I never thought that that was actual violence. Now, thanks to the story that has been shared, and thanks to the chance of being part of the crew, I've also learned that online violence is actual violence, and we have to take on responsibility and take action against it. And so I think we also have the solution somehow here, the positive change. Speak out, call out the perpetrators, own your story, don't be ashamed, never, because the victims are not to be blamed, and they can be also a powerful source for this, bringing about this change that we really need very much.
I like that. And you've brought up something that is really important. The fact that we assume, since it's online violence, it's just online. But it gets to spill over, just from that story. And I'm sure that, there are many other stories that are almost similar. It spills over, and it's spilling over into, becoming an offline harm does not necessarily mean the same, like literally someone coming to beat you up because of this and that. But it's spilling over also looks like depression. That's spilled over. It's spilled over from just being an online thing. It's spilled over. It's now causing actual harm to this person. So maybe if we can just speak more about that. As much as you're doing this thing online, sometimes they say, forget about it. It's just a reflection of who they are, so don't think much into it. But it is causing me harm in one way or the other. So if we can just loudly speak about that, maybe Njeri, you can also just get into that. Just the fact that it's not just an online thing. It gets to spill over in one way or the other and gets to cause harm offline.
For me, I would say we have seen the incel culture. The incel culture incubated online, right? It started online, and it has spread. It is now a manosphere thing. It has spread, and the problem of such things is that those ideologies, they may start online, but unfortunately the effect is offline, where young boys and young men are learning how to be disrespectful to women online, and then coming offline to actually do it, right? So you're finding, online platforms being used to even arrange things like gang rapes, right? Or even online platforms being used for the spread of image-based violence, non-consensual sharing of images. We have platforms where these images are actually shared, on things like Telegram, where when people say they're going to leak your nudes, where do they leak them? They don't go around passing it to people. It is done online. So you have to start imagining that the other day when you were looking again online, where there were 70,000 men sharing tips on how to rape women, including their wives and children. Yes.
That was happening online?
Yes.
Like public platform?
Public platform. They had a closed group. But again, it was online, right, where these things were being shared. So online also has its negative uses. And that spillover we are looking at happens right there. Before we even start going to imagine the effects, it is already being arranged online. So this is some of the things when we're talking about social media and now the spillover. How do young children, because again, we do not have an age limit of when children can join social media. And I'm looking out to Australia that has said until you're 16, no child is going to be allowed to use social media. And I am of the opinion that such a law should also be pushed for a country like Kenya, so that children are not harmed even online. We are looking at, even when we talk about spillover, again, let's look at about child images online. and you're finding you shared your child's picture and it has 200 bookmarks. Why are we bookmarking pictures of children? You don't think? Like that is very, for me, that is very worrying. Anytime I open a picture and I see a picture of a child, I start shaking because I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't even know the people online who can actually, you know, share these images. So that is something. Now, let's now look at the spillover effects. We're looking at depression, you know, spiraling because of some of the things that happen online. Even some of the things could be depression just from seeing maybe your mates, your friends, how they have progressed in life and you haven't. And then we don't have places where people can go on social media to debrief.
Yeah.
I have been abused on social media, on your platform, say for example. What are you as a platform? How do you as a platform take responsibility for the things that affected me inside your platform? We are living in a time when mental health issues are on the rise. Where do I get help if the mental issue that is affecting me right now has come from social media usage? How do we teach girls? How do we teach young children, even young boys, that the things you see online are not necessarily the best for you? How do we make sure the spillover effect of the incel culture is not engaging in the young boys who are seeing it offline? How do we teach the young girls that the things told online about themselves, their bodies, how they are, that is not how they should see themselves? For example, the image that is given for girls online, this is how it should look, a certain way, a certain look, a certain everything, where we are seeing education for girls. I don't know whether you've seen it, but it's been progressively rising. I monitor social media and I see girls' education being demonized. How do we tell girls that that is not the truth, that you need to get an education for yourself? How do we tell them that those things that you see in social media are not real? You should not listen to them. How do we ensure that this is not the image that is being passed? Because I listen to it, I hear it, I come, I talk to you, and then I talk to you, and then suddenly now it's a mainstream topic. Because things start online and then they become an offline topic. That is the danger of just anything that goes online without there being any regulation. So I am for regulation. I am for controlled measures. I am for how do we ensure that this, again, the spillover effects. And by spillover, I'm also looking at suicide. Because the rates of suicide have risen, and part of it is also due to social media pressure, right? Because the pressure does not necessarily have to come from the people around me. The people around me sometimes is the community I have formed online. Because we have communities online that should be safe for people, but they're not.
Oof. Guess there's still so much to be done, you know. And I think one way we can get to start tackling this is also by just starting that, I don't know if the proper word is digital literacy, from a very young age. As much as we're saying, you know, we don't need to have children on social media, but they're on social media, and that is where also the predators are, you know, for these young children. You know, some girl may be chatting online thinking they're chatting with a boy their age, but it's a whole grown man who's just, you know, finding a way to just, you know, like it's crazy out here. So I think it's very important, even for parents, guardians, and just us as individuals as a whole, to also look into working with our younger people and ensuring they know the dangers online. Because I feel like we forget about that sometimes, and they also fall to the wrong hands on this matter. So if that's the case, where do we start with that? Do we go to schools? Is it something that should be introduced as in the curriculum? What's the best way, top of mind from your point of view?
And again, I don't think there is one fit for all solution, but for sure education is a pivotal point, and this is a debate that is going on globally. Even in Italy, we are having this debate, and we actually achieved quite commendable results also in terms of the law enforcement. Femicide is has been recognized as an offense, and we recently also added a mention to the consent which needs to be clear and reiterated in the moment, which means that even if we are partner, if I'm saying no, it's no. If yesterday I said yes, this yes is not still valid today. So again, the regulatory framework is very important, but I guess at the very center is education, awareness raising, knowledge and training for the guardians, for the parents, for whoever is responsible to create an enabling environment for kids, but also for women and girls and the kids themselves. I understand what you're saying about this kind of deterministic approach. Don't make them be able to access social media, but you know, unsafe space are everywhere, in the real world and in the online space. What we need to address is not try to isolate this space or avoid people having access, or women, girls or kids to having access, because this is going to happen. We cannot prevent them to be in the social space, in the social media space, or even to bump into perpetrators and predators in real life. What we can do is to raise awareness, knowledge, to educate them and to equip them with tools able to understand, debunk fake news, understand that something what is going on is wrong, is toxic, and provide them with the right tools to protect themselves and to remove themselves from this space and situation where they are at risk.
Are you seeing it maybe in the near future? Do you feel like it is possible for us to get to live in a world that is just respectful? Because some of these things we're talking about, they're so cringe, because it's just like it's human decency. Some of these things it's not like some science or something. It's just so obvious, but it seems to be so far-fetched at the same time. So are you seeing a world where we get to a point where we are just, living like we should, online, offline, either way?
A safe world is possible, I believe. I believe a safe world is possible, and I believe all of us are working towards ensuring a safer world for all of us. And a safe world starts by us, ourselves. But what may seem as human decency to you may not be for the same people. We're also living at a world that is extremely capitalistic and patriarchal, and those are some of the things that actually make the world unsafe. So one of the ways in which we can look at creating a safe world is dismantling the inherent power structures that works against making the world safe for everybody. Because a safer world is possible if we all come together to work towards ensuring that a safe world happens for all of us. Protecting the gains that we have made, the momentum, keep on pushing, because we have to keep on pushing, keep on creating an awareness, keep on creating knowledge and sharing it across, and ensuring that people understand that it is our responsibility to leave the world a better place than we found it. I mean, that is what we have to, to be very intentional. I think a safe world comes with intentionality. Are we intentional about how we live the spaces we have? Are we intentional about taking care of what we have, online and offline? And just making sure that, we live and get a better place for all of us.
I love it, and I want us to finish on that note. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me for this very needed conversation, and let's keep pushing the envelope until we get to the point where we feel, yes, we are living in a safe world. So I appreciate your presence on the show here today.
Thank you.
Okay, this is where we end this conversation, and we leave it at the note of a safe world is possible as long as we all take responsibility and ensure that the world we are living in is actually safe, online and offline. Right now we end Good Morning Kenya.